Welcome to PHP Compare Web Servers. Have you ever had that time where a coworker forgot about your development cycle, went straight to production to edit code, then forgot to go back in the development server and re-edit the code or copy the files over? Maybe they forget which file they edited altogether. That's where PHP Compare Web Server comes in handy. It can show you all the files that are different between the two servers, looking at the modification date, the file size, even just a list of all files that have been modified in the last 7 days. It can even show you files that are missing between the two different web servers. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and get started and showing you how to configure this. First, we need to download the zip file, which can be found at clipboardcode.com website. I'll put a link in the video description below. Go ahead and bring up the web server here, and I'll go to clipboardcode.com. From here, go to your menu and choose PHP Compare Servers. Before you download it, let me go ahead and show you a screenshot of what we're actually going to be looking for. You can see here in this screenshot example, it's creating an HTML table to display all this information. The missing files, the file differences, and the files modified in the last 7 days. Alright, let's go ahead and download the zip file, which we found right here at the top. And let's open that zip file up. And you can see inside the zip file, we basically just have two different files, compareservers.php and filelist.php. There's a README with instructions that are also on the website. Alright, talking about instructions, let's scroll down to those. And the very first step, it says copy the filelist.php file to the folder of the two different web servers you want to compare. Let me go ahead and show you what my web structure looks like. I'm running a local web server, and I happen to have two folders in that web server called Development and Production. Now your servers may look a little differently. You may have project folders wherever you want to actually copy these files into, or you may have servers independent of each other. Maybe a server dedicated to development and another server dedicated to production. Even if your servers are not even in the same building, same state, same country, across the planet, this should still work. As long as you can access both web servers via a web browser, looking at a URL. That's what a web server is doing. It's hosting to the network or the internet. As long as you can access them both via a browser, you're good to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish step number 1, which was copy the filelist.php file into both of my web servers. So here we go. Alright, going back to the documentation. Step number 2, copy the Compare Servers file into the web server folder where you want to use the utility. And basically saying wherever you want to generate this HTML table, you want to copy that Compare Servers file into it. Alright, let's go back to my web development server. And I'll do it right here in that development branch. Bring up my zip file, and I'll copy the compareservers.php file into there. I can go ahead and close down the zip file. I'm done with that for now. Alright, back onto our instructions. Step number 3, in the PHP file you want to show the HTML table, basically copy this code into that file. Alright, copied there. Back to development, and I'm going to create a brand new file. Let's just call this file test.php. And then open that file in your favorite editor, and we'll paste that code. Let's go ahead and see what the code's doing real quick. First thing is a require statement, and it's basically including that compareservers.php file that we copied earlier. And then it's asking for a couple of URLs. These are the URLs that point to the file list file that we copied on both of our web servers earlier. So I'll go ahead and edit the first one. I'll change the URL 1 to, in my situation, it's localhost/development. And then the second URL we will change to localhost/production. There again, your URL is going to look a lot differently, maybe completely different web domains, should still work just fine. And the last one is actually running the compare servers function and using those two URLs. Let me go ahead and save that, and then let's go to a web browser and look at this test.php file. Alright, so we'll go to localhost/development /test.php. And you can see it work. We're actually getting good information about the two different servers. And I have a bunch of files and folders in that server that are a little bit different, just to kind of mimic what you might see in the real world. Now, it doesn't look as pretty as a screenshot. Where are all my colors and everything? Let's go back to the documentation. And you'll see there's actually a style guide that you can include in your file. So I'll go ahead and copy that. Whoops. Get that here. All right, we'll copy there, and then we'll paste that at the top of our test file. Now it's basic CSS. If you don't like the colors I chose, feel free to edit this all you want. Send me a screenshot. I'd love to see what you come up with in designs. All right, we'll go ahead and refresh our browser and see what that did. Oh, much better. We can actually see all the pretty colors. You can see here it even separates between URL 1 and 2 what the colors are. Here's some red based on showing, okay, this has a date difference and this has a size difference. Now, one thing I don't like is it says URL 1 and URL 2. Which one is development, which one's production? Eventually we're going to forget that. So let's see if we can change those names. Back into the documentation, it talks about an optional parameters, which is the third and fourth parameter. Remember, the first two is our URLs. The third parameter is the name that you want to call the first website, and the fourth parameter is the name you want to call the second website. Let's go ahead and go back to our code and actually do that. So I'll go ahead and add a third parameter to our call here, and we'll just call that one development. And then the fourth statement is production. I'll go ahead and save that and go back to our browser and refresh. And boom, there we go. We got all the labels filled out exactly how we want to see it. Now there's another thing bugging me about this is you notice the Compare Servers PHP files listed here and are missing files, saying it's found it in development, but so it must be missing in production. Same thing with this test.php. And remember, I just put those in that one server. Now I can put them on both servers, that's fine. But let's say I only wanted this to exist in development. But I don't want these files to show up every single time on the missing files. It's going to get old. So let's go back to the documentation. At the very, very bottom, it talks about an optional ignore files documentation. And it basically says compare servers.php has a list of an array file list of all the files you want to ignore. So let's go ahead and add those files to that list. So go back to my development folder, find that compare servers file, and edit it in our editor. And we'll scroll down. There we go. Add file names to the ignore list here. The first one we're going to add is the test.php. Got my comma. And then we'll add the compare servers.php. Alright, I'll go ahead and save that. You can keep adding as many as you want to the list. Go ahead and go back to our browser. We'll do a refresh, and you can see those two files are now no longer in my list file. Now here again, if those files you want to re-add to the list, you got to go back and make sure you delete them from the compare servers.php file. That's pretty much it for the PHP Compare Web Servers. I hope you enjoyed that code. If you have any questions, comments, find a bug, there again, please let me know in the video comments. Head over to clipboardcode.com and check out the other projects I'm working on. Have a great day.